Welcome back to Jameel Cast, where we explore ideas and innovations shaping the future of our world. Join us as we uncover perspectives and insights at the intersection of purpose and progress, featuring voices from across Abdul Latif Jameel's international network of businesses. This is Alex, your AI host.
And I'm Omar, your AI co-host. Welcome.
Today, we're shining the spotlight on the real game changers, small businesses. Across the Middle East, they're fueling growth, creating jobs, and redefining what success looks like. These businesses are quietly reshaping economies. From Dubai to Cairo, entrepreneurial spirit is driving growth in ways you might not expect.
That's right, Alex. And to help us unpack this, we've got Jade, our AI guest expert, joining us today, here to share insights, trends, and honestly, the stories behind the stats.
Thanks for having me, Omar and Alex. It's great to be here.
You know, when people think of economic powerhouses in this region, the first things that come to mind are probably massive oil companies. I mean, giant corporations, right?
Exactly. Like Saudi Aramco, valued in the hundreds of billions, it's easy to forget there's another engine driving these economies.
Totally. But here's the thing. SMEs, or small and medium enterprises, are actually the backbone of the Middle East economy.
You're absolutely right, Omar. When we look at the actual numbers, it's the small and medium enterprises that are really the backbone here. I mean, we're talking about over 90% of all businesses in the MENA region.
Wait, 90%? Wow, that's huge.
Right? And here's what's even more impressive. They're providing about 70% of all jobs outside the farming sector. So we're talking about the real job creators here.
That's incredible. So when we talk about, let's say, economic impact, what does that actually look like country by country?
Great question. So in Saudi Arabia, SMEs are responsible for about 30% of GDP. That's roughly a third of their $1.09 trillion economy from 2024. But here's where it gets really interesting. In Egypt, SMEs make up 43% of national GDP. In the UAE, they're generating more than 63% of non-oil GDP.
63% of non-oil GDP?
Yeah, so these aren't just corner shops we're talking about here. What kinds of businesses are we actually looking at? I mean, are these traditional businesses or?
Well, that's where the tech startup boom comes in. And Jade, this is where things get really exciting, right? The number of tech startups has grown steadily over the past few years, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely. So we had almost 750 small tech firms across MENA that became what we call scale-ups in just 1 year. That means they attracted $1 million or more in funding.
Only a year? That's a strong pace for this market. Capital and growth aligning that fast is no small feat.
Absolutely. You know, we're talking about $19.5 billion of total investment. That's a 50% annual growth rate. The UAE led with 339 scale-ups, then Egypt with 140, and Saudi Arabia with 132.
Right, so those three countries are really the powerhouses here, and I'm guessing that's not by accident. There's got to be some serious backing behind this.
There surely is. Let's look at some of the sovereign wealth funds in the region. The UAE's Abu Dhabi Investment Authority ADIA oversees $853 billion in assets, while the Investment Corporation of Dubai controls $320 billion. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund has $776 billion at its disposal, with much of it waiting to be invested in small and medium-sized firms looking to expand into larger, self-sustaining industries.
Okay, let me ask you something. Are these businesses actually helping communities, like beyond just the numbers?
That's such a good question, Alex, and the answer is yes, absolutely. SMEs keep money in local communities rather than sending profits to some distant corporate headquarters. They support local families, local suppliers.
That makes sense.
And here's something interesting. More than half of small businesses donate to charitable causes. So they're not just economic engines. They're actually strengthening the social fabric.
That's amazing. What about, okay, this might sound random, but what about the environment? I mean, are small businesses better for the planet somehow?
Actually not random at all. Small businesses tend to use existing buildings instead of constructing new ones. They often source materials locally, which reduces carbon footprints, and employees are more likely to walk or bike to work.
Right, shorter commutes.
And we're seeing some amazing eco-focused SMEs across the region, like Green Touches in Dubai. They're using nanotechnology to create sustainable cleaning products. Or Second Sky in Saudi Arabia, making radiation-blocking materials for greenhouses to help with heat stress in agriculture.
That's actually really impressive. But I'm curious, if these businesses are so important, what's stopping them from growing even faster? Like, what are the main challenges?
Oh, this is where it gets frustrating, actually, Jade. The financing situation is, well, it's pretty stark, isn't it?
It really is, Omar. So SMEs represent 96% of all registered companies in MENA, right? But they only have access to 8% of bank lending. 8%.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. 96% of companies get 8% of the lending.
I know, right? It sounds a bit backwards, doesn't it? The World Economic Forum says we need better systems to assess their creditworthiness, more standardized tools, better property rights, and much stronger contract enforcement.
Right, so it's not that these businesses aren't viable, it's that the system it's not set up to evaluate them properly, is it?
But the good news is that governments are really stepping up. Saudi Arabia has this program called Kafala that's arranged over $26 billion in financing guarantees since it started, and they've supported over 23,000 separate SMEs, created almost 1 million jobs. They're even using AI now to cut processing times from 48 days down to 36 hours.
What about other countries? I mean, Saudi's got kafala, but what's everyone else doing?
The UAE launched their Entrepreneurial Nation 2.0 scheme to develop 8,000 more SMEs and startups by 2030. They're even offering golden visas to attract top entrepreneurs. Qatar has Al Damin for credit guarantees. Egypt's introduced new tax laws with rates as low as 1% for smaller businesses.
But what about private investment? I mean, government support is great, but are private investors getting involved too, you know?
Absolutely. And this is where it gets really interesting. Private capital is well positioned for longer-term plays. It doesn't need those short-term quarterly returns that public companies are always chasing. That freedom allows it to take bigger bets, stay patient through cycles, and invest in deeper transformation rather than quick wins.
Right, so they can take the long view.
Definitely. Take Jimco, the Jameel Investment Management Company. Since 2018, they've been backing companies like Zena, which is one of the UAE's newest and leading financial platforms. Since 2021, Zena's processed over 800 million dirhams annually with 10 times year-on-year growth.
That's the kind of success story you hear about in Silicon Valley.
On top of that, they've invested in lean technologies, Rain Financial, Tabby, and many other startups. The Jameel family were even early investors in Rivian and Joby Aviation, two companies that started as SMEs, and now they're massive.
So we're talking about identifying the next big thing when it's still small, right?
That's exactly right. And in an uncertain world, with trade wars, global tariffs becoming more common, SMEs can actually provide protection from those headwinds. They keep money local, provide local jobs, and build community resilience.
So when we step back and look at all of this, I mean, what's the big picture here? Are we looking at a fundamental shift in how these economies work?
I think we are, actually. Saudi Arabia wants to get their SME contribution from 30% to 35% of GDP by 2030. The UAE wants 20 unicorn businesses by 2031.
And it makes sense, right? These economies are diversifying away from oil dependence, and SMEs are the perfect vehicle for that. They're innovative, they're flexible, they create jobs, they build communities.
It's funny because when you first hear small and medium enterprises, it sounds almost, modest. But we're talking about the backbone of entire economies here.
Right? 90% of businesses, 70% of jobs, and that's just the beginning.
And you know what I find really exciting? These businesses might be small individually, but their collective impact is enormous. They're building more sustainable, more equitable economies. SMEs may be small in size, but their role in creating a better future is fundamental. Let's take some specific examples that really showcase what we've been talking about. I've come across quite a few success stories that perfectly illustrate this transformation.
Oh, absolutely. I love hearing about specific companies. It makes all these numbers feel more real.
Yeah, definitely. Stories behind the statistics.
Perfect. So let me tell you about PayMe, which started as a small fintech in Jordan. They began by solving a simple problem. How do you send money across borders in the Middle East without massive fees? Today, they're processing millions in transactions and have expanded across multiple countries.
That's exactly the kind of innovation we need to hear more about. What about other sectors?
Well, there's Swivel in Egypt, which revolutionized bus transportation by creating an app-based mass transit system. They started small, solving Cairo's traffic problems, and now they're operating in multiple countries with millions of rides completed. Or look at Fetcher in the UAE. They started because traditional addresses don't work well in the Middle East, so they created a delivery system based on GPS locations.
GPS-based delivery. That's brilliant. I mean, when you think about it, that's solving a problem that's specific to this region, but the solution could work anywhere.
Exactly. And that's what makes these SMEs so valuable. They're not just copying Western business models. They're innovating for their specific markets and often creating solutions that have global potential. Take Careem, which started as a ride-hailing service but understood Middle Eastern culture better than Uber initially did. They offered features like family accounts, cash payments, and even captain ratings based on respectfulness.
And Careem got acquired by Uber for over $3 billion, right?
It sure did. But here's what's interesting. Careem maintained its brand and much of its operational independence even after the acquisition. This shows how valuable locally adapted business models can be. Now, if we're talking about what's next for SMEs in the region, I think we need to discuss the role of artificial intelligence and digital transformation.
Oh, this is interesting. How are small businesses in the Middle East adopting AI? I mean, you usually think of AI as something for tech giants.
That's the beautiful thing about today's technology landscape. AI tools are becoming democratized. Small businesses in Dubai are using chatbots for customer service. Saudi retailers are implementing predictive analytics for inventory management. And Jordanian logistics companies are optimizing routes with machine learning algorithms. If you look back, what used to require massive IT departments is now available through cloud services and simple APIs.
So we're talking about leveling the playing field here. Small businesses having the same advanced tools as the large corporations.
Well, tools is just one aspect. What's particularly exciting is how this ties into the region's vision of the future. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and other countries are pushing hard for digital transformation, and SMEs are both beneficiaries and drivers of this change. They're more agile than large corporations, so they can implement new technologies faster. At the same time, they're creating digital solutions that larger companies then adopt and scale.
Speaking of Vision 2030, what about sustainability? You mentioned some green tech companies earlier. Is environmental responsibility becoming a bigger priority for SMEs in the region?
Oh, absolutely. And this is where it gets really fascinating. The Middle East is uniquely positioned for green innovation because of the climate challenges and abundant solar resources. We're seeing SMEs develop everything from solar-powered desalination systems to smart building technologies that reduce energy consumption by up to 40%. There's a company in Morocco called Cleanergy that started with just 3 employees and now provides clean energy solutions across North Africa.
It sounds like renewable energy and SMEs are really intertwined in ways I hadn't thought about.
They absolutely are. And here's something that might surprise people. Many of the breakthrough renewable energy innovations we'll see in the next decade won't come from massive energy conglomerates. They'll come from nimble SMEs that can experiment, fail fast, iterate quickly, and bring solutions to market much faster than traditional energy companies. The region's combination of investment capital, government support, and entrepreneurial talent is creating the perfect storm for clean energy innovation.
That's a really compelling way to think about innovation. But I'm curious, with all this growth and potential, what are the biggest obstacles still facing SMEs in the region? What keeps you up at night when you think about this sector?
That's a great question, Omar. The talent pipeline is probably my biggest concern. Yes, we have incredible entrepreneurs and growing investment, but we need more skilled workers, software developers, data scientists, digital marketing specialists, operations managers. The educational systems are catching up. But there's still a gap between what universities are teaching and what SMEs actually need. We're seeing companies struggle to scale, not because of funding, but because they can't find qualified people to hire.
So it's a skills mismatch issue? The talent exists, but maybe not with the right training.
Absolutely spot on. But the good news is that the government sector is recognizing this. Saudi Arabia launched the Human Capability Development Program as part of Vision 2030, investing billions in reskilling initiatives. The UAE has created coding bootcamps and partnerships with international tech companies, and many SMEs are starting their own training programs. They're hiring people with potential and training them internally rather than waiting for perfect candidates.
That's really forward-thinking. It sounds like there's this whole ecosystem developing where everyone, government, private investors, educational institutions, and the SMEs themselves are all working together.
That's right. And what's particularly encouraging is that we're seeing cross-border collaboration too. SMEs from different countries in the region are partnering with each other, sharing knowledge, creating joint ventures. A tech startup in Dubai might partner with a manufacturing company in Jordan, or a Saudi logistics firm might work with an Egyptian fintech. This regional integration is creating a much larger market and more opportunities for everyone.
Jade, to wrap up, the regional cooperation aspect is really interesting. It makes me think, are we looking at the emergence of a Middle Eastern Silicon Valley? Is there a particular city or region that's becoming the hub for all this activity?
That's a great question. Rather than one dominant hub, we're seeing multiple specialized centers emerge. Dubai is becoming the fintech capital, with its regulatory sandbox allowing companies to test innovative financial products. Saudi Arabia is focusing heavily on smart city technologies and sustainability solutions. Egypt has this incredible pool of software developers and is becoming a major outsourcing destination. You've got Qatar investing heavily in sports tech and logistics solutions. And you know what? When you think about it, each country is playing to its strengths while contributing to the overall ecosystem.
So it's more like a constellation of innovation hubs rather than one single center. That actually sounds more resilient and sustainable.
Absolutely. And I think this distributed model is actually perfect for the region. It means if one area faces challenges, the others can continue growing. It also means companies can tap into different talent pools, different markets, different regulatory environments as needed. The future of SMEs in the Middle East isn't just bright. It's diversified, resilient, and interconnected. These small businesses aren't just transforming their local economies anymore. They're creating a new model for sustainable economic development that other regions are starting to watch and learn from.
And Abdul Latif Jameel Finance in Saudi Arabia, which has long supported SME and entrepreneurs, was recently awarded the Gold Award at the Arab Guarantee and Financing Programme Forum. The recognition was granted by the Kafala Programme and SME Bank, honouring the company's exceptional performance and leadership in expanding financing access for small and medium enterprises across the kingdom.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks so much for sharing your insights, Jade.
Thanks for having me. This was really fun.
And thank you to all our listeners.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, small businesses can make a big difference. You've been listening to Jameel Cast, the official podcast of Abdul Latif Jameel. For more insights and conversations shaping our future, follow us wherever you get your podcasts or visit alj.com to read our Perspectives articles. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, stay curious.